And the history of Derry continues. Another great episode. Baby, who knew Dexter's dad would be this deeply involved?
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
All right, welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. I'm Asia Esterak. All right, welcome to Derry Season 1, Episode 3. This is going to be a quick review. All right, so in this episode, we learn a lot more things. We get deeper into Dick Halloran and how he's connected to this show. The sergeant, I think Hanlon, the black sergeant. We get more into his son, Lucy, Ronnie, the kids, and it itself. So James Remar, who plays like the head colonel guy, he's very connected to the show. So episode 3 opens in 1908, and we see a little boy at a like fair geek show thing, and he keeps seeing this different type of looking clown holding balloons off in the distance. We know that's Pennywise. He doesn't look like the Pennywise that we come to know yet. It's also 1908. At the same time, there's a guy standing in front of this booth. Come in, come see the oddities, the bearded lady, all that stuff, kind of creepy. So he's looking at the clown off in the distance and looking at this guy. So he ends up going into the Greek show, walking past all the different acts or whatever, and he sees something off in the distance in this other room. He walks in there and you hear this old man kind of cracking his back, and you see it. Creepy. Walks in and the guy's like, "Come closer, little boy, come closer." And his ass goes closer. Gets closer. The old man steps out of the shadows. Terrifying. He's got one eye, one missing, teeth missing, and he's like grabbing for the little boy. The little boy runs out. So, he's there with his dad. His dad buys him a slingshot and they leave the fair. So they're driving away from the fair, and their car breaks down. His dad asks him to go buy some water. There's Native Americans that also dominate half of Derry. I just want to tell you, I love that we're seeing that Derry has a whole other side to it too. It's not just white people that live there. There's a huge Native American community who, of course, are very connected to the earth. And they know what's going on. You know that. So he goes over to the Native American kids who are about his age, and they're selling water and other things. And so he buys a bottle of water because their car broke down. The battery, whatever, needed water. Something, not the battery. The car needed water. So the price is 5 cents, and he didn't have enough. And the little Native American girl, she was like, "Is that a slingshot in your pocket?" The one that his dad won for him at the fair. And he's like, "Yeah." So he uses that to get the water. They exchange a little bit of a moment. It was cute. So him and the little Native American girl start hanging out, and it's cute because they're friends, but it just seems like there's something more. And they're playing outside and chasing each other, and he runs into the woods, and she stops. She's like, "No, Francis, don't go in there, Francis." And he's running. So he gets deep into the woods and he realizes that she's not following him. And of course, it's quiet. So he's looking around and he sees someone peeking from behind a tree in the distance, scary shit. And what he's seeing is peeking behind and getting closer to him. And it turns out to be the old man that he saw at the fair. And he starts chasing him. So he's running from him. And of course, dude is Pennywise. And he, his big old spider legs come out and he's running on him at all fours. So the Native American girl jumps in. So homeboy, the thing is about to get him and actually gets on top of him. You see something hit the thing in the eye, and it's the Native American girl with the slingshot. She's like, "Come on, run." So they run out there. They're running from this. This thing is chasing them wholeheartedly through the forest. They reach the barrier to get out of the forest, and she stops, and he's still running. And she was like, "Francis, it's okay now. It can't come out of the woods." So We fast forward to current Derry. We're still in, what is it, the 40s and the 50s, the 60s, something like that, 60s. So we find out that the little boy is actually the main dude, the colonel, Dexter's dad, James Remar, the actor. Francis, he's grown up, and he's in charge of this dig in Derry to find this beacon, this thing that enhances fears. So in that, we learn that he experienced something as a kid, and obviously he's coming back to see what it is, and this is what this dig is about. Obviously it's important. So we find out why Dick Halloran is there. Dick Halloran is there to use his psychic abilities to find out what is buried deep in the earth. So remember, at the end of the last episode, they found that car with all them bodies in it, but they're no closer to what they're looking for. And James Remar says that. He's like, you know, what's buried in that earth came long before the car. Like, he knows that. And he's like, Dick Halloran, I think he needs to be in the air. So he tells Sergeant Hanlon, the black dude, and his Italian friend, they're gonna fly up in the plane over the area with Dick Halloran in the back. And they were like, just follow Dick's lead. So James Remar, the colonel, I can't remember his name, so I'm gonna call him by his real name, James Remar, or Dexter's dad. So they get up in the plane, and before they get up in the plane, James Remar hands Dick Halloran this cigar box. So we all assume there's cigars in there. There's not cigars in there. They go up in the plane. Dick Halloran, Sergeant, and his Italian friend, they're flying over the spot, and they're basically like, we're just supposed to follow Dick. So Dick's sitting in the back of the plane, holding the cigar box, leaning against the plane, and he's like concentrating. And they're like, what's in the cigar box? And he's like, it's not cigars. And they were like, what's in it? And he's like, you wouldn't understand. So they fly up. He opens the box. In the box is the slingshot that Francis, his dad, won for him at the fair. And that's what they used to hold off Pennywise from getting his ass, right? So Dick Halloran's holding it. And it's like he gets locked into the memory of it, the stuff with it, with Francis, with the Native American chick, them running. He's connected to it. So he's telling them where to hover over, right? But here's where it gets crazy. So in his psychic state, it pulls him into his drain, and he sees its eyes, and it sees him and is like, who are you? What do you want? So he's in its lair, and he's looking around, and it's raining like dolls and toys and shit. So he looks up, and of course it's all the kids like strung up. And he's looking up, and he's like, oh my God. And it's like it's like an infinite high thing of toys and kids and people. And there's a voice up there, and it's his grandmother's voice. And she turns around and she goes, you better get out of here before he comes and gets you. And she flies at him. Now, while this is going on, he's in the plane. They're freaking out because he's not responding to them. And he's actually got up in his state, and he's searching for something, and he's actually opening the back of the plane. He doesn't know it because he's in the psychic state. It has taken a hold of him. So the sergeant, the black guy, wait till y'all learn what his gift is, child. He ends up pulling Dick away and closes the plane and basically saves them. So they land, and Dick Halloran is shook. He's shook. So James Remar, Dexter's dad, comes into him later because he's in the infirmary because he was messed up, and he's asking him what happened. And Dick Halloran tells him, he goes, it saw us. It wasn't supposed to see us. It was not supposed to know that we're here and that we're looking for it. And he tells James Remar, he says, I think if we keep digging, something bad is going to happen. I think we need to leave this alone. James Remar not trying to hear that, but he's right. So Dick, he now has an idea of exactly what they're dealing with, and it's bad. It's really bad. The funny thing is, they all know it's bad, right? So, and I'm going to tell the whole Dick Halloran thing first, and then I'm going to get to the kids. I'm going to split it up because this episode was literally him and the black sergeant, James Remar, and then the kids. So later on, Sergeant Hanlon, the black guy, he ends up inviting Dick Halloran to his house for dinner with his wife. That was a really good scene. I can't wait till we get more into the sergeant's wife, because I love that actress. She's bomb, and her character is feisty. You know, she's an activist, and she's not feeling Derry. She feels like there's something weird there. So anyway, they have a cute little dinner at the house. Afterwards, Dick Halloran and the sergeant are talking, and the sergeant goes, "You were in my room the night everybody busted in." So they go back to episode 1 where he's laying in the he's trying to sleep, and they come in and they're trying to get the codes from him. And he goes, "I know that was you in the corner holding the bat. You were in my head. Don't ever do that again." How would he know that Dick Halloran was in the room and in his head? Oh! So Dick goes, "Yeah, that was me." And he said, he asked the sergeant something. He goes, "You know what?" He goes, "You know what I saw in you?" He said, "It's interesting because the whole time you have a gun to your head and you weren't scared. You were analyzing. You were analyzing the whole situation. And the part of fear that's in most men, you didn't even have." So now we know why. Because remember, the sergeant tells him at the end of the second episode, "We brought you here for a very specific set of skills." So the black guy is not afraid of shit. Whatever you have in the brain that makes you scared, he doesn't have that. That's why he's there. So he's perfect for it because he's not scared of shit. But dude warns Dick, "Don't ever get in my head again, or I'm going to tap that ass." He doesn't say that, but that was definitely what was implied and felt. So they're on the same page now. And here's what's funny. When he first got there, Dick Halloran was eyeballing him from jump because he knew, oh, you're special. You're touched like me. Okay, so meanwhile, we have the kids. We have Ronnie, the little black girl who I absolutely love. She has some great lines in this episode. And then Lucy Bainbridge. So Lucy gets out of Juniper Hill. She goes back to school. And before she gets out of the sanitarium Juniper Hill, she's talking to this nurse who, if I'm not, correct me in the comments, was that Madeline Stowe? I was like, is that Madeline Stowe with a facelift? She looked great. But anyway, so the nurse is telling her, because Lucy's basically like, "I know what I saw, and I know that if I tell the truth, I'm going to come back here. But my friend's," she's like, "My friend's dad is being accused of something but that he didn't do, but I know no one's going to believe me because of what I saw." And so the woman tells her, "If you really believe that what you saw was true, then we have to, basically we have to accept that, and you have to stand up, blah, 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 blah." So anyway, so Lucy hits up Ronnie at school, and this was hilarious. Ronnie's a little black girl, or Veronica. She goes, "I ought to whoop your ass for what you did to me." I thought that was great. So anyway, they're talking, and what they realize is no one's going to believe them unless they have proof. So they come up with the idea of, let's take a picture of it and show them. We're going to have to bring proof to prove this to get your dad out of there. His dad is locked up in jail. And of course, the sheriff, the head racist dude in charge of Derry, that guy, he's taunting him in the cell. You did it, blah, 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 bullshit, right? So they end up getting with Will Hanlon, which is the sergeant's son, because they know that he knows how to develop pictures. They take him and his friend to the big, sorry, my alarm went off. So they take them up to their little secret spot where the other kids were, the ones that all were killed in the first episode, where they're all hanging out like on that tower above Derry, looking at everything. And they're basically saying, "Listen, we have to take," they tell Lucy and Ronnie tell Will and his friend what happened. Will, of course, none of them believe them. He's like, "Well, I believe that they believe what they saw." But their whole thing is, we need to get proof of it. We need to take a picture. We need to get proof of it. Okay, cool. So they all meet up in the cemetery, and they're going to try to draw. And Lucy's thing is, we're going to have to draw it out. Long story short, I forget how they draw it out. They draw it out. The reality is they don't really draw it out, because if Pennywise is everywhere. He's everywhere. He's through the drains. He's everywhere. He is the Who when you call who's there. That's him, right? So they draw him out, and they know that something is coming for them at this cemetery, right? So they take off on their bikes. At first I was like, what is going on with this scene? Because the lighting was weird. All their dead friends are flying out of their graves and chasing them, right? All the kids that have died that are their friends. So they're getting pictures. They're taking pictures as they're riding away on their bikes. So Will Hanlon, the little black kid, who, he's science based, he's seeing what's going on, and he follows he follows it. He doesn't know that it's it yet, into this mausoleum. You see part of its hand, that like creature hand with the wraps on it. If you remember the first It movie remake or whatever, he had that on his hand. So he sees that in there, and there's a flash of light. So they all make it out of the cemetery. Homeboy's still in there, right? So they're at the entrance, because as they're trying to get out, Pennywise is, of course, it's crazy how he can just take over their reality. They make it out of the cemetery, but Will is still in there. He finally makes it out. They break into the school. They get into the photo lab, and they start trying to develop these photos. So they develop the first photo, and they see their dead friends. So they get happy. They're like, oh my God. So each photo is one of their friends that was trying to attack him, and they get to Will's photo that he took in that mausoleum at the end. Why is it a picture of the clown that Francis saw at the beginning from 1908 in the back of the mausoleum? And they're like, it's a clown. And that was the end of the episode. Great show. Great third episode. We are building something here. We are getting to something. I'm very impressed with Welcome to Derry. Very impressed. Very well written, well adapted, well paced. I think this show is really doing the book justice. I absolutely love it. I would love to hear what Stephen King thinks of this. How could he not like this? This shit is amazing. Anyway, Welcome to Derry, episode 3. Fantastic. Can't wait for next week. HBO, y'all got me fucked up with the shit, with the episodes going live at 9 p.m. on Saturday or Sunday. Some of us are 44 and have to work in the morning. 9 o'clock is late for me. Anyway, great episode. It's the start of a new week. Let's try to have a great week. I'm going to try too. Anyway, stay hydrated, stay warm, be nice to each other, and I'm going to go return these videotapes.